What is the latest on DeAndre Hopkins? Where will he sign before NFL training camps get here? That's how we're going to start today's Chiefs Report. My name is Harrison Graham. Thanks to all of you for watching. He, of course, remains unsigned as of now, Monday, June 19th. So let's explore the latest with what's happening with the veteran wide receiver. You kind of look at the timeline on DeAndre Hopkins. Got cut officially on May 29th. It was actually announced the 26th, but officially hit the waiver wire the 29th. June 11th and 12th, he took a visit with the Tennessee Titans. Then, later that week, he visited with the New England Patriots on the 14th and 15th. And as of today, he remains unsigned at this point in free agency. Now, there is a report that the Tennessee Titans have made a contract offer. Not concrete reports out there that New England has made an offer, but I'm guessing they have as well. It sounds like that meeting visit went well also. But the fact that he remains unsigned clearly tells me he's at least exploring his options, keeping dialogue going, and maybe hoping some other teams, Chiefs, are willing to get to the table of discussion. We'll explore the possibility of that in a second as well. But I want you guys to predict it. Where will DeAndre Hopkins play in 2023? What team is he going to sign with? Predict that down in the comments below. Hopkins' 2023 team will be, let us know. Some other rumored teams connected to Hopkins over, the past month or whatever. The Chiefs, obviously, the Bills, the Ravens. Now, there were reports coming out of Buffalo that doesn't sound like they were going to pony up what he wants. Same can somewhat be said for the Chiefs, although I do think there's been more smoke around him signing with Kansas City. Baltimore's been mentioned. Could they do another OBJ type of contract where you get Lamar Jackson too? Big-time weapons in the same offseason. We'll see. There's been other teams casually mentioned like the Giants, the Cowboys, but those seem less likely at this point in time. Now, DeAndre Hopkins, I think he finds himself in an interesting spot because I think he views himself still as a top 5, top 10 receiver in the game, which fully healthy, I think that's still achievable. But the past 2 years, he's had injuries. He had the suspension. He hasn't put up the gaudy numbers like he did in 2020. Can he be a 1,400-yard guy? Probably not. I think he's more of, if he plays fully healthy for a season, he's in that 1,100-yard range, probably 1,000 yards, 6 to 8 touchdowns, which is still very good and would be the Chiefs' number 1 wide receiver. Let's make no mistake about it. Now, a theory that I have, because you're thinking, okay, well, he's already visited the Titans, has a contract offer. He's visited the Patriots, could have an offer from them as well. What is he waiting for? Well, he did tell us before he got released that in theory, ideally, he would play for a proven quarterback, a contending team, and a team with a good defense. Tennessee and New England don't necessarily offer those. Those are teams that could be good if things bounce the right way, but they're not the Chiefs. They're not the Bills. They're not the Bengals. So my theory is I think Hopkins could be waiting for a true contender like the Chiefs to show more interest and make a sizable offer. I think that could be the case. Why rush? You got 5 weeks till training camp. This is not a guy that needs to be on a team right now necessarily to have a good season. So I'm curious to see how this plays out. I'm curious to see if the Chiefs can get involved. Maybe they extend Chris Jones. We'll talk about that in a second to clear up some cap. If Brett Veach and Patrick Mahomes want Hopkins, they can make it happen. It's just a matter of how much they want it to happen. Now, if Kansas City signs the veteran wide receiver or any other player, we'll cover it. We'll have a video for you guys here on the channel. And if they get Hopkins, we'll probably go live realistically. Hit that subscribe button. We've got you covered here on the Chiefs Report. Don't miss any of our coverage when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's get to the latest on Chris Jones and his contract situation. He's got 1 year left on his deal and is currently set to be a free agent in 2024, which obviously none of us want to happen. We want him to be here for the foreseeable future. Brett Veach saying they've had great conversations with Jones and his representatives. Here's a larger portion of the quote from the Chiefs general manager. He says, "We've had great communication and there's a lot of time before camp. I feel good about where we're going with Chris, and I'm sure we'll have a great dialogue from now to the start of training camp and look forward to Chris being here, not just for next year, but for a long time." I just get the feeling this gets done before training camp. Now, Brett Veach is, he's been known at times for these things to drag out, right? The Orlando Brown deal never happened last year. He stayed on the franchise tag. Up to the point where he ended up walking after this past season. So it's not a given that Chris Jones will get a deal before camp, but I think he will. Another example that could say he may not is they traded Tyreek Hill, right? They didn't extend him, keep him around. So there are proven scenarios where Brett Veach could move on or just not do an extension, let this year play out. But I just think Chris Jones is such an integral part of this team and defense. I think it gets done before training camp. More thoughts on what that contract could look like here in a few moments. But I want to tell you guys about our Chiefs hats that are available. These are technically the draft hats this year, but these are hats you can rock all year long. It's not like they're draft-centric. Chatsports.com/Chiefs draft hats. For those of you potentially attending training camp next month, it's going to be hot as hell. Get yourself a hat today. Protect yourself and do it in style. Chatsports.com/Chiefs draft hats. That link is in the description and in the comments of this video. Click and shop today and represent Chiefs Kingdom with a new lid. Obviously, Chris Jones wants a sizable contract. I mean, this guy, to me, last year, he was the best defensive lineman in football. I thought he was better than Aaron Donald a year ago. Now, I'm not saying all-time or anything like that. I'm not saying he's going to get Aaron Donald $32 million money. But I could understand his reps being like, he's better than Donald now. He deserves a huge contract. 15.5 sacks, 29 QB hits. I mean, this guy is just a menace, and he's improved as a run defender throughout his career. And something we've talked about, too, is this offseason has kind of been the pay interior defensive lineman offseason, right? You look at the updated top 10 paid guys, Donald, who got paid a couple years ago, but Jeffrey Simmons, he got paid. Deron Payne just got paid. Dexter Lawrence got paid as well. Javon Hargrave got a nice deal from Philadelphia. Chris Jones is clearly better than him. I mean, to me, what I've kind of consistently been saying is make Chris Jones the second highest paid guy behind Donald. He's not going to get $32 million. I think he probably even understands that. So here's my contract projection. It tops Jeffrey Simmons. You play out this year, then you add 3 years to it. 3 years, $72 million, 55 of which is guaranteed, $24 million average. And the reason I went 3 years instead of 4 or 5 is that allows him to hit the open market again at 32, 33. He could get another 2 to 3 year deal potentially if he's still playing at a high level. Now, if he'd rather just get the 4 or 5 years now and kind of just view this as his last major contract, you could go that route. You could go like 5 years and what's 23 per year at that point? $115 million, I think that would be. You could go that route. Yeah, I just think that a 3-year, $72 million deal makes a lot of sense. You make it into a 4-year deal with this last year on the contract, lowers the cap hit, win-win for everybody involved. And let's just be honest. You lose Chris Jones, this defense isn't the same, especially this front. I mean, your defensive tackle position outside of Chris Jones is a major question mark. Derek Nottie, he struggled last year as the one tech next to Jones. Hopefully he bounces back. I'm high on Keandre Coburn, but he was a 6th-round pick. Tershawn Wharton tore his ACL a year ago. So you need Chris Jones to be here. You want that security. Keep him long-term. Brett Veach, my message to you, get this thing done. Will the Chiefs get it done before training camp? Type Y for yes. Type N for no. What you think? Chris Jones, extension before camp? I hope so. Get your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about Kareem Hunt. He is going to Washington, maybe? Washington Commanders apparently showing interest in the former Chiefs running back. I thought we would just hit on this on today's show because I still get DMs and you guys in the comments asking, Kareem Hunt, what's he up to? Could he be a Chief again? I've kind of made that clear. I think that ship has sailed, but the latest on him is that the Commanders have shown interest in Kareem Hunt. Josina Anderson having that report as some preliminary inquiries have taken place per league source. We'll see if this leads to an opportunity for Hunt with Washington. I mean, this makes sense, right? I think for a multitude of reasons, not a lot of teams are going to be interested in Hunt. One, his history with the kicking the female video, that's obviously going to eliminate a lot of teams, including the Chiefs, who released him, obviously. And two, he's coming off a bad year, but the Eric Bieniemy connection is there. He obviously knows Kareem Hunt, coached him in Kansas City, and now he's the OC in Washington, so he could vouch for Kareem and try to convince the Commanders to sign him. Now, Kareem Hunt's been a dynamic runner and receiver in this league for several years, but he's coming off a career worst year, which doesn't help his cause for teams that already are going to have some pause on whether or not to sign him. Career worst, 3.8 yards per carry. he's kind of lost that burst. I mean, last year he really did not have that explosiveness that he had, in 2019, 2020, and obviously his 2 seasons with the Chiefs in 17 and 18. He has sneakily been around for like 6-7 years now. So running backs, they slow down pretty quickly. And look, when it comes to the Chiefs, no is the answer. He will not sign in Kansas City. A, they don't really need a running back. They could add a short yardage guy maybe, but B, as soon as they caught him in 2018 when he was having an all-time season, that ship has sailed. They made it clear that they were not going to tolerate his behavior at the time. And look, let's be honest, he always will be a big what if. You wonder in 2018, that year when they lost in the AFC title game in overtime to the New England Patriots, is he enough of a difference for that team to win that game and win the Super Bowl? They should have won that game anyway, but because Dee Ford lined up offsides. But the bottom line is he'll always be a big what if. This offense with a peak Kareem Hunt over the last few years would have been very, very interesting. But listen, we all have to make decisions. He made his, and the Chiefs made theirs in reaction to his. All right, guys, appreciate everybody for tuning in to the Chiefs Report. More coverage to come on the daily, so hit that subscribe button. We got you covered here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report by Chat Sports.